Well, I'm going to order another. I already have ordered another Parazapper, an UZI-3. And, you know, I buy all these things. I buy all of my spooky equipment and all that type of stuff. I'm an end user. I'm not a sales pitch guy or nothing. And like anything I show on any of my videos, whether they're related to cars, health, or fixing things, or whatever the best advantage to something is, it's a product I buy personally. And it's because I researched it and I've used it and I think it's a great idea, right? Well, I'm getting an UZI-3, and UZI-3 basically is, I guess this is their lowest line product, the Parazapper 6-pack, but I'm going to tell you, even their lowest line Parazapper 6-pack with, what does it have, 12 or 14 frequencies? You see, I'm not a salesman, okay? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it's 14 frequencies. That'll pretty much do the job on anything as long as you use it extensively enough. Now, the problem is with a lot of these zappers is they don't reach every aspect of the body. So when you're using it in combination with nutrients and detoxification, and you're using a zapper, and you're getting sunlight, and you're doing a little exercise, the zapper is going to be an aid beyond that, especially if you're using it 8 to 10 hours a day. Now, that's the problem, actually. See, one of the things with Spooky 2, the contact mode is much better than the remote mode, but you can't walk around with a computer and you're tied to the computer and you're tied to the generator. The remote mode, I always use the Spooky 2 remote mode every day, 24 hours a day, actually on 3 generators, but I don't use the contact mode on Spooky 2 because it's just too inconvenient. Now, I can almost say the same thing about the plasma mode. I would use the plasma mode if I really needed to on a Spooky 2, but it's, again, you have to be near the machine. So I could walk around, I could be doing things, I could be, doing whatever I need to do. I could be trimming trees, for crying out loud, or working on a car while I'm using the Parazapper, especially if I have it hooked up correctly. I even use the Beck Pulsar. This is a Beck Pulsar. This one was from Bioelectric. I kind of like this one better than most of them because it has an indicator light to show you you're right in the range. And even with these TENS pads, when I go from opposite ankle to opposite wrist, from like say your left ankle to your right wrist, with these TENS pads, I get right in that range where it's correct, even with this thing set right in the middle. But one of the things about this thing is it doesn't have as many frequencies. It has one frequency, which isn't bad because it's a regeneration and healing frequency. And on the you see what it hits when you hit like 4 hertz, for instance, 4 hertz. What happens is you hit odd multipliers on waves up, so it'll hit 4 hertz, 12 hertz is less strong than 20 hertz, which is 4 hertz times 5. So it's 3, 5, 7, 9, so forth. 20 hertz is pages of stuff. That's why this thing does work for quite a bit of stuff. But then again, it doesn't work on everything. But there is a certain advantage to the Beck Biotuner or Bioelectrifier, blood electrifier, is that somehow it does increase energy. It's a little bit beyond what the frequency is. It's something to do with the 31 volts AC current. I don't know what the hell it is, but it doesn't knock out as many microbes as the Parazapper. This is my opinion, but I've been using these products extensively, and I think one of the biggest problems we have is people are too lazy to use the products, and the medical establishment will not use these products. In my opinion, these products, the Parazapper especially, should be in every single hospital in the United States and used extensively, along with vitamin C, intravenous therapy, and vitamin D combined with K2, and sunlight therapy. But you know what? The hospitals would empty out. Literally. And also want to tell you, just as a caveat, this is one of the things Bob Beck talked about when using this blood electrifier. No herbs, including seasoning, no garlic, no vitamins, no supplements, no enzymes. I'm going to tell you that's BS. As far as prescription drugs, while you're doing the Beck electrifier, I'm going to say avoid that stuff, because the thing is, when you're multiplying the force of garlic. Garlic's powerful, even good for the memory, good for the mind. The guy was actually not, in my opinion only, but the guy was not telling you all the real stuff. He's throwing in BS wingers, but he's got useful information he's giving you, so don't throw it all out. You know, it's my job to attempt to try to find out what's real and what's not real. But with the Parazapper, I'm going to say it's a far improved Hulda Clark zapper. It's a Hulda Clark design. According to Hulda Clark, the positive offset will kill all microbes, even a single frequency, even 30,000 hertz. Anything from 10 hertz to 500,000 hertz will work. But then there's been also a number of different frequencies that specifically work on different microbes better, and that is the key. So this, you have a lot more frequencies. Even in the 6-pack you have 14 frequencies, and these are the most commonly known ones that are used to kill microbes. In other words, it's not, let me say this, people have been using this contact mode frequency technology to kill microbes. I've been using the 2489 to 2127, 2280, and this one is a pretty accurate thing. It's now if you take the many zappers in one, that's extremely accurate. Okay, it's extremely accurate. But even so, this one is far more accurate than most of the ones that are being sold on the market today, even with a single frequency and at a lower price. If I remember right, the price was $109 plus shipping. And if you look at the stuff that's out there, he beats their price by gazillion times. Plus, it's a single battery. It's real easy to change the battery. I decided to start using these low self-discharge nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries because I keep them on hand. I got about 6 of them on hand. So if I rotate them, and so it sits around 2 months, it's still got a full charge because it's a low self-discharge. I was using 9.6 volt batteries for a little more boost. They're special rechargeable batteries because most rechargeable batteries are 8.4. But these, when I charge them with the Bedini charger, they get up to a little over 9, so they're really strong anyway. And with this constant current technology that's in these zappers, it keeps the power output boosted and up to full power, up to when it says a red indicator light over here. So on this one, like here I was experimenting with the Rebel flag. I put that on there myself. Okay, it's just a little add-on. It's kind of Rebel technology, right? This one has the TENS pads, and I found the TENS pads aren't as strong as using the paddles, but maybe a pair of TENS pads, where you're looking at a pair of TENS pads. They have them with 4, where there's 2 pairs, one pair on each site. So if I say one is on your wrist and one's on your inside of your ankle, you use one pair on your wrist and one pair on your ankle. You might be getting pretty damn close to the using like the copper paddles. The copper paddles are the strongest, but they're not that convenient to use. That's one of the problems. And I'm thinking about setting up, I guess you could probably even use saran wrap or something and wrap it around your wrist or wrap it around your ankle or something and put a paddle on there. They have the flat kind that are like this. It's just a copper paddle that's underneath here, underneath this cloth. And they also have the tubular kind, which is like this. The cylindrical. I actually use one of each all the time because I found it better. That's what I found. More convenient to use. Actually, I'm using it right now. I just have it under my arms. I'm holding it under my arms. And I'm running this right now, as a matter of fact, on mode 4. This one, the My and the My Plus, and now he's got a My Plus too. The My has, in the My Plus has everything that the My has in it. This one is going to go in an ammo can that's going to be wrapped in bubble wrap as a Faraday cage, and it's going to be my emergency zapper because this one has everything this one has in it anyway. It's a later model of the My. So that's going to actually, so I actually don't use this one as much because this one has everything this one has plus a few more frequencies. Then they have a My Plus too. I'm going to get the UZI-3 because, well, it has a couple of things in it. I think they're, you know, it's controversial. They got there's a couple frequencies in there. They run like a 66% duty cycle, and one runs a 90% frequency duty cycle. I know there's some people that, and it's not just in the Zapper world, but I also seen it on the Spooky Tooth world, that they talk about a 90% duty cycle has more harmonics. Maybe not. I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, there's the charts out there. But, you know, one of the things I like using this CC2 for the most is that it has more frequencies than the 6-pack, but since I use it at night, I don't like hearing the beep go off every 10 minutes and 21 seconds because this one has it set for a beep every 10, well, depends on how you have the frequency range. Excuse me. It's 10 minutes and 21 seconds per frequency, then it goes through the whole mode, and then it beeps. So it beeps like every hour. And sometimes I don't like that when it beeps every hour, approximately every hour. It depends on how many frequencies there are. Especially if you're using it at night and you're sleeping, you hear this beep. I'm like, what the hell was that? You know, I gotten used to that, but then that's one reason I use the CC2 more. This one actually would be better to use probably because it's got more frequencies in it, especially the Clark mode, which is all around the 2500 frequency range. With harmonics, with all these frequencies, and I know, you see, this is another thing about frequencies. They got Rife frequencies that use this sine wave, and sine wave's extremely deadly to viruses if you get, or microbes, if you get it on the exact frequency. But there isn't necessarily, like say you have I don't know, some type of botulism or something, or anthrax. Yeah, so they got anthrax. There's a frequency that Rife has for anthrax, and it's a sine wave. But it's not the only frequency that works. And sometimes there's an array of frequencies that work. It's not the only method to get to the goal. It's like it's best to use the right frequency, but there's more than one frequency that works on a specific microbe, because they attack it a different way. That's sometimes their confusion. And actually, if you look at what John Crane did, I know they discredited contrary. Some people discredit John Crane, but his work was not as strong, which he used like the contact mode with the frequencies, was not as strong as the real Rife technology using the plasma and the sine waves, but it still was largely more effective than not using it. Then if you combine that with what Hulda Clark found out with the positive offset, then you're getting more power, because the positive offset will work even with a single frequency if you just give it enough time. But if you're using multiple frequencies and a positive offset, you're going to get faster results. The problem is that this technology needs to be coordinated with medical people, and it's like generally not used by medical people. In other words, you got to have an accurate diagnosis of what your problem is, then use the theoretical, we'll call it that way, the theoretical frequency, then use it in, for great periods of time, then confirm what it does. But the problem is with this technology is that it can literally knock out $1 trillion industry in pharmaceutical. That's the problem with it. And the other advantage is this. Hulda Clark says not only does this kill microbes, any microbe, but it also super boosts the immune system. The positive offset, what I understand it's doing is an electron donor to the white blood cells, the macrophages, the CD4 cells, the CD8 cells, and all that type of stuff. And I assume all the cells. I assume anything that has a negative charge, this positive offset, is causing electrons to go into those cells, including the red blood cells. I'm assuming everything. Everything that is life-giving has a slight negative charge to it. What's going on with the microbes and toxins, it's shorting them out. It's causing like positive to positive. And it's shorting them out. So it's making them destroyed. You look lack of a better way of phrasing it. Now, if you combine this with activated charcoal or something like that, or which is negatively charged, the reason that is working, even though you're saying, well, wait a minute, positive offset, negatively charged. Activated charcoal is negatively charged. What it's doing is it's attracting and trapping toxins which are positively charged. This is actually like putting an electrode to a, say, think of a microbe as a positive charged battery. That's what it is, really. Or a toxin is a positive charged battery. Then you put positive to it. What happens? Bzzz, shorts it out. Kills it. It's like shorting out the battery in your car or whatever, right? Now, if you want to, in other words, if you put the battery charger on your car the wrong way and it was allowed to work, it would kill it, right? It would make the voltage go to zero. That would kill the toxins. That would kill the microbes. But if you want to charge up the good stuff, which is oppositely charged as the microbes, and the toxins, which is slight negative charge, that's what this positive offset's doing. It's like an electron donor. That's really what the hell it must be doing. I mean, it was her words, her theory, but I'm elaborating more on how it must be working. But if you're combining this with nutrition, and you're combining it with detox methods, as far as I'm concerned, I think any problem you have in the blood will be totally wiped out by this technology if you use it enough. All blood infections, I'm pretty sure of it. And then if you have an infection that's in your intestines or something, your bone marrow, and it can't be reached, maybe there's other ways to take care of that. That's in your stomach, your intestines, activated charcoal, whatever. Now again, Hulda Clark had no problem with taking herbs, garlic. She was no problem with that. And I'm going to tell you, if you're using the Beck biotuner, don't avoid taking herbs and garlic and vitamins and supplements and enzymes. And I'm like, God, it was like some of the stupidest things this guy, I don't think he was stupid. I think he was playing games with us, to tell you the truth. But even garlic, he said it would destroy your mind. It's good for cognitive brain function and memory. This was Bob Beck, right? Enhanced memory function, increased levels of serotonin, directly correlated with the consumption of garlic. Okay? So I'm getting an Uzi. I don't know when it's going to come in. It might take a couple months because it's getting around the holiday season. It might take till 2018. I'm going to get an UZI-3. We're going to have a review on it when we get it in. It's probably going to be my main zapper. And I'm probably going to put a rebel flag on it too. On the front and on the back. And all this stuff is made in the USA. In the South, I think. Alabama or something. So that's my spiel, and that's my update. And like I said, I'm an end user, I'm a customer, but what really, and you're not going to see the medical people freaking adopt this because they'd be right the hell out of business. Really. I mean, doctors would be going from $250,000 a year average to $25,000 a year, for crying out loud. That's what would happen to them. If, we showed all this works with the right detox methods, herbs, and vitamins, they're out of business. They're out of business. That's why they're not going to do it. But some of them will. Some. Very, very few. So, this is going to be my, emergency zapper that's going in my ammo can. That's going to get wrapped up with rubberized bubble wrap. It's going to be in a Faraday cage because, again, this one has all of that in this plus. So it's a repeat, so that's my extra one. My UZI-3 is going to be a little bit different. And it might be my main one I use because it doesn't have the beep on it. Now, for most people, it don't matter because most people aren't going to use it over an hour. I use these things. When I'm using them, sometimes I don't use them for a week or two. Then sometimes I get on a kick and I'm using them like 10 hours a day. And I use this one a lot too, but I use this one the most. And I use this one too because I like that 10,000 frequency a lot too. Actually, I use all of them. All of them. This one the most though. I'm probably going to wind up using the UZI-3 the most though in the future.